Okay, so we're starting Unit 9, Lesson 3. I believe this is possibly, no, it's not completely. It's our second to last lesson on new material. Okay, so we'll have one more lesson that you'll actually have a choice. You'll either do it after the SOL on Tuesday, or you'll do it 2 classes after that. As a warm-up, you are supposed to be evaluating these, and it's just reminding you about function notation. So when it says find f of 3, they put the 3 instead of the x. You see that? So for the first one, it would just be 4 times 3 plus 7. F of 3 just means put 3 for x. That gives me 12 plus 7, which is 19. Do the other two super quick. You can grab a calculator if you want. All right, for number 2, when you substitute in the 4 in both places, remember, if you're trying to evaluate it step by step, you would use PEMDAS. First you would do parentheses, none of those. Then you would do exponents. You do have exponents. And then you would multiply and divide. They have the same priority, so you do them left to right. And then you would add and subtract, and they have the same priority. But if you put this in your... Oops. Where is that one? Here it is. All right, so using order of operations, you should get 25 out of that one. This one is different because it doesn't say x. It doesn't put the 13 where the x is. So if 13 is not the x, it's probably the what? The y. The y. So we're going to put 13 for the entire h of x here. So this is the 13. Good morning. And then it equals the 5x minus 2, so we have to solve that. So the first thing we would do, remember we do order of operations backwards. So first we undo the addition or subtraction with the plus 2. I get 15 equals 5x, and then I'll undo the multiplication with division. And I get x equals 3.
Do you have any more of the notes?
Mm-hmm. They're by the door. Okay. What questions do you have about 1, 2, 3? Warm up. You good? Okay. We're moving on to new material. We're going to look at a graph of a piecewise function, and we're going to determine all of these things. Domain range, increasing, decreasing, constant. None of that is actually new. We have actually not done this before, though. Found f of 2 and f of negative 2 from the graph. So let's start with the domain. On the left side, this part of the domain is going to what x value? There's an arrow, negative infinity. So it's going all the way to negative infinity. Now remember, what we're trying to do is write down all the x values that are included. So I'm going to follow my graph from negative infinity all the way up to here, and I see that the negative 1 is left out. But if I go down here, the negative 1 is included. So is negative 1 in the domain? Yeah. If it's included anywhere, it's included. So negative 1's in the domain. So far, no number has been left out. So I don't stop my domain. My domain went to negative 1. I was worried that it was going to be left out, but it wasn't left out. And my domain continues without stopping because I'm not leaving any values out. Then I'm going to continue, and it keeps going all the way to the right. And then on the right, what is the x value? Infinity. So even though there's a break here, my domain is negative infinity to infinity. And you can write a note. It's because no x values were left out. Let's stay focused here. For your range starts at the bottom. Are there any arrows pointing down to negative infinity? No. Okay. So we don't start at negative infinity for our range. We go all the way from the bottom of the graph until we hit the graph, and we're at what y value there? -3. So our range starts at -3. Because there's no hole there, it's going to be included. Okay, following your graph up, really you're just scanning it. Use your pencil as a scanner. We're going to continue up. The left side gets cut off, but that's okay because we still have y values on the right side. As we pass this horizontal piece, we notice that that includes 1, but 1's also included over here, so we don't have to say it twice. And it keeps going all the way up to what y value? Infinity. So even though there are 2 pieces, we are just listing the y values that are included, and we're only including the numbers from -3 to infinity. You don't write this one a second time, the y value of 1, because we had already included it in this interval. What questions do you guys have about the domain and range? Okay. Increasing, decreasing, and constant. Let's look at the first piece here. Is this increasing, decreasing, or constant? It's constant. So under constant, we're going to list negative infinity to -1. And remember that we always use parentheses on increasing, decreasing, and constant intervals. Okay, the next piece is right here. This little piece here, is this increasing or decreasing? It's increasing, yeah. All right, I mean, it's decreasing, right? Decreasing. Okay, so it starts decreasing right here, and it stops decreasing right here. So it's decreasing from -1 to 0. And then the last piece is increasing. So it's increasing from here all the way to the right. And on the right, x is infinity. So it's increasing from 0 to infinity. Okay, what questions do you have about increasing, decreasing, and constant? All right, so notice that it's always parentheses, and we write the x values. We never write y values for increasing and decreasing and constant. Okay, find f of 2. That means x is 2. So on the graph, we go to where x is 2, and then we go up to the y of that graph. And what is the y value? 1, yeah. So f of 2 equals 1, because when the x is 2, the y is 1. Try to find f of -2. Go to where x is -2, then go to the graph. What's the y? It's 1. It's right here. F of -2 is also 1. All right, I'm going to have you guys take a minute and see how much of this you can do for the second graph. I want you to try it. I want you to talk to your partners about it. I want you to keep your partners on task. Okay, quiet down. Let's see if we got the same thing. First one. A lot of you asked a good question. Will this domain be 1 piece or 2 pieces? Can you guys show me your answer? Did you do 1 piece or 2 pieces? Show me your answer. 1 or 2? Looks like you're doing 4. 1 piece or 2 pieces? And over there, Adam's group, what'd you guys put? 2. Okay. I understand if you put 1 piece, I understand why, because we had 1 piece over here. However, this one, on the first one, the x where we left off was the same x where we picked up, but this one has a gap. Gap in the domain. You see that? We don't start and end at the same piece. Okay. Charlotte, can you give us the domain?
-2,
Thank you.
and then 3 and 2.
3 and 8? I think you're right. All right, and then should the first one be bracket or parentheses?
Bracket,
And here?
parentheses,
Here?
bracket,
And then?
parentheses.
Okay. All right, did you guys get the same? Yes.
So for the first one, you said that the other one had also had -1, then the -1 wouldn't be included.
The -1 is included in the first graph, but when we write it this way, negative infinity to infinity, we're already including -1, so you don't have to write it a second time.
But if the other one had also been -1, would you have just done like
There might have been two pieces, yeah.
over it to show that it's not?
If there's a value that's not included, your domain will definitely have more than one piece to it.
So there would be two.
Yeah.
But you just do a parenthesis if it's
Oh, I'm sorry, we do the parentheses when it's open dot, and then we do the bracket when it's closed dot. Okay, range. Range is from the bottom to the top. Does anybody want to raise their hand and take a stab at the range? Who can tell me the lowest value in the range? -4? I'm going to count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I agree. -4 is the lowest y value in the range. Okay. Then if we follow this piece up here, is this the highest y value in the entire range? Yep. Yeah, so all these other pieces, those are just repeated values. You don't have to say them again. So this highest y value is what number? 4. Are they both included? Yeah, they're going to be included unless you have an open dot on that number. Okay? So you're scanning it and you're just saying to yourself, what y values are included? We're including all the y values from -4 to 4. The fact that these are repeated does not matter. All right, we've got a lot of increasing and decreasing intervals. I'm going to start by labeling them, going from left to right. We're increasing, and then we're decreasing, and then we're increasing. This one is also increasing, and then this one is decreasing. So we have a lot of intervals. I'm also going to connect my turning points to the x-axis to help me focus on the x-axis there. Okay? All right, so for my increasing intervals, this one is, I'm getting -7. Did you guys get that? Okay, -7 to -4. -7 to -4. The next one is -1 to 2. And this one is a little bit tricky. I think it ends at 4. 1, 2. Actually, I'm confused about these numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did anybody put 3 to 4 for that one? Yeah. I think I'll go with 3 to 4. It's probably some sort of decimal, but it's too hard to read. The decreasing intervals right here, we're at -4 to -1. And then 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 to 8. What do I put for constant intervals? None. Yeah, there's none. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second just to make sure that you caught up on that. Please make sure you're caught up. All right, g of 5. So remember, we're looking for where x is 5. Good morning. Pick up the notes by the door, okay? So x is 5 right here. What did you guys put for the y value where x is 5? I feel like it's not quite 0, right? Anybody put in a fraction? No? Where x is 5, we're like right above 0. I would take like a 1/2. I would take a 1/4 right there. I'm going to say approximately 1/2.
Would you also take a 0?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't give you a question that's that iffy.
Alright.
It looks a little bit above 0 to me, but it doesn't quite look like 1/2 either. G of -4. So let's go back to -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we said that this y's value here was +4. All right, so we actually have another practice problem here, so I'd like you to try it. I'd like you to try the practice problem 3. Your domain started over here at what number? -3, thank you. All right, then we reached x value of 0, but we realized that we didn't have to leave anything out because the graph continues up here, and then it continues over here. So we left no x values out, so my domain was -3 until what number at the end? Oh, my bad. -3 to what number at the end? 4, good. All right, the -3 is filled in dot, which includes -3, so we put the square bracket, and then we don't include 4, so we put the parentheses. Your range started at the bottom with a y value of -3, is that right? Okay. And there's a square bracket to include it, and then it went up to 0, but then what happens after 0? Is there anything there? Are there any y values? No. So we have a gap between 0 and 1. So we have to write this piece separately, -3 up to a y value of 0. With a square bracket. And then there's a gap, and then the graph picks up again at a y value of 1. And it continues up to 2. Oops, you know what? I was wrong about this. I put this one right here because I saw the empty dot. Can anybody tell me why I actually am going to put a square bracket there? The line, yeah. So even though the 2 is not included here, okay, y equals 2 not included here. The y equals 2 is included here. So I have to, that's really actually very tricky. I do have to do this because it's included on the other piece. Okay, does anybody need to hear again why I included that even though there is an open dot? All right, yes.
I didn't hear, why'd you like split it up again?
So for the range, there is a gap in the range. In order to leave out these values between 0 and 1, I had to write it in 2 pieces. All right, my increasing intervals are on the left and on the right. These are both increasing intervals. And remember, we always use parentheses and we always use x values. So I'm looking at the x values here, and I'm looking at the x values here. So I'm increasing from -3 to 0, and from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4. There are no decreasing intervals. And then for the constant interval, I'm constant from 0 to 1. Questions on the increasing, decreasing constant? This graph's a lot easier to read than the other one. Let's go to h of -3. When x is -3, y is -3. When x is 1, should I look at the solid dot or the empty dot? Who has a vote? Solid dot or empty dot? When x is 1, I'm looking at both of these dots. Which one's included? The solid or the empty? The solid. Good. So that's what we look at. So we get 1. Okay, tell me what questions you have on that. And then we're going to look at the ones that aren't graphed. Okay, so obviously you could just graph these examples and then find your answer that way, but you don't have to graph it. That's an extra step that's really not necessary. The first one says find f of -1. So you have to ask yourself, is -1 less than 0 or greater than or equal to 0? Is -1 less than 0 or greater than or equal to 0? Less, yes. Okay, -1 is less than 0. So we're going to use the first part. We're going to put -1 in here. So it's -1 minus 2. Negative makes what? Positive. So 1 minus 2 gives you -1. Calvin? Did you get that? We're doing f of 2 now. F of 2, is it less than 0 or greater than or equal to 0? Two is greater than 0. 2 is greater than 0. So we're going to use the second part. 1/2 times 2 plus 2. Okay, one more. Find f of 0. Is 0 less than 0 or greater than or equal to 0? Greater than or equal to, because it's that equal to part, right? So 0 is greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to use this part again. 1/2 times 0 plus 2 equals 2. Okay, I'm going to have you guys try 5. All right, first one, -6 is less than or equal to -2. Oops, put too many things there. So I'm going to put the -6 into this one. So I'm going to do 3 times -6 plus 2, and I'm getting -16. Did you guys get -16? Okay. The next one, 0. 0 is between these two numbers, right? -2 and 3. And so I'm going to use this one. My answer is just -4. And then the last one, 3 is greater than or equal to 3. So I use this one. 1/2 times 3. Oh, it's 1/3, right? 1/3 times 3. Minus 5. I'm getting -4. Did you guys get -4 for that one? Okay. All right, that one was nice because they put them in order, right? Like this was for the first, and this was for the second, and this was for the third, but that's not always the case. Did anybody work ahead onto number 6 already? In number 6, they do switch things up, right? For example, G of 7, the 7 is in the last piece. So this one goes here. And then G of -3 is this piece right here. And then G of -4, -4 is less than -3, so that piece goes here.